Jayo Radhe, Jayo Radhe, Jayo Radhe, Jayo Shri Radhe, Jayo Radhe, Jayo Radhe. Jayo Jagannatha, Jayo Jagannatha, Jayo Baladeva, Jayo Subhadrama, Jayo Jayo Gauranitai, Jayo Gauranitai, Jayo Gauranitai, Jayo Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. जब ओम विष्णुपाद परिफंसकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्रीमद अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शीला प्रभुपाद की, इस्कॉन फंड आचार्य शीला प्रभुपाद की, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद भागवतम की. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the morning Bhagavatam program. So today we are reading Canto 3, Chapter 18, the battle between Lord Boar and Hiranyaksha. And today's text is text 10. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, so please repeat with me. So, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Satyam Vayambo Vanagochara Mruga. Yusmad Vidan Mrugaye Grama Simha. Namrutyupasha pratimuktasya vira. Vikatanam tava grahananti abhadra. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Satyam Vayambo Vanagochara Mruga. Yusmad Vidan Mrugaye Grama Simha. Namrutyupashe pratimuktasya vira. Vikatahanam tava grahananti abhadra. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Satyam Vayambo Vanagochara Mruga. Yusmad Vidana Mrugaye Grama Simha. Namrutyupasa pratimuktasya vira. Vikatahanam tava grahananti abhadra. Word to word translation. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Satyam, indeed, Vayam, we, Bho, O, Vanagochara, dwelling in the forest, Mruga, creatures, Yusmat Vidan, like you, Mrugaye, I am searching to kill Grama Simha, dogs, na, not, Mrityu Pashe, by the bonds of death, Pratimuktasya, of one who is bound, Vira, the heroes, Vikattahanam, loose talk, Tava, your, Grahananti, take notice of, Abhadra, O mischievous one. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation, just please repeat with me as well. O Personality of Godhead said, indeed, we are creatures of the jungle and we are searching after hunting dogs like you, one who is freed from the entanglement of death, has no fear from the loose talk in which you are indulging. For you are bound up by the laws of death. Purport. Demons and atheistic persons can go on insulting the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but they forget that they are subjected to the laws of birth and death. They think that simply by decrying the existence of the Supreme Lord or defying his stringent laws of nature, one can be freed from the clutches of birth and death. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that simply by understanding the transcendental nature of God, one can go back home, back to Godhead. But demons and atheistic persons do not try to understand the nature of Supreme Lord. Therefore, they remain in the entanglement of birth and death. So, let's say Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaiham Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaura Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktarunda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we are reading the chapter 10, chapter 18, canto 3 and text 10. So before that we try to revise what all had happened in the previous verses. If you remember, the Jaya Vijaya took the birth as a demons in the material world, and they started increasing their power and energy and started defeating various demigods and other living entities in the material world. And they went to Varuna, and Varuna told, I am old enough, I can't fight with you, so you go and search for Supreme Lord. And then at the time Supreme Lord was recovering the earth from the ocean, and finally the Hiranyaksha found Supreme Lord. So then as soon as he sees after seeing the Supreme Lord in the Varaha form, the Hiranyaksha started blaspheming, with abusive words. Like I think in the last week, the same verse in the verse text 3, we heard about he started abusing like Vanagochara, Mruga, and also said, if you take this earth from here, I will harm you, I will hurt you. Like very severe, harsh and abusive words he was using and criticizing, blaspheming Supreme Lord. So, and when we were reading last week verse, that's where we discussed about Vanagochara and Mruga. So there were two meanings we were discussing. One is, Sridhar Swami has explained the meanings. The Vanagochara is nothing but Vishnu who's lying on the water. Similarly, other meanings also like he explained. So what it means, the contextually, in that context, intention of Hiranyaksha is to abuse or blaspheme Vishnu. But unintentionally, without his intention, without his understanding, he was using some words which are glorifying Vishnu. That is what Sridhar Swami's comments. But his intention was to blaspheme Vishnu. Now, in today's verse, so Vishnu heard so many abusive words and he was taking his mace and trying to hit with the mace to Vishnu. So Varaha. So now, Varaha recovered the earth and he kept on his orbit. So now he is ready to respond back to Hiranyaksha. So that's where he started today's verse, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. So in this verse, so far we heard Hiranyaksha's abusive comments on Lord. Now Lord Vishnu, who is in the form of Varaha, he started responding back to Hiranyaksha. So if you see the first line, he said, Satyam Vayambo Vanagochara Mruga. So because in the previous verses it said, you are Vanagochara and Mruga. So he is responding back, yes, Satyam, it is true. We are Vanagochara. We are animals living in the forest. So when Varaha was saying Vanagochara, what was his intention? The animals living in the jungle. People living in the jungle means they are not educated. They don't know anything. That is what Hiranyaksha was mentioning. But now Vishnu is responding back. Yes, we are Vanagochara. What is the intention? So animals in the forest, what they do? They will hunt other animals to kill. That's what in the next line he said, Yusmad Vidan Mrugaye Grama Simham. So we are searching like you dogs. Grama Simha. So I remember another analogy regarding the Grama Simha. Grama Simha means dog. So in general, we see like any strong person, if any person, he can hit 4 to 5 people at one time. We feel very powerful and strong. We can compare with him as a very strong lion-like personality, right? Simha, lion. But in opposite context, when we see, if the person boosting himself, but he doesn't have much power, what in general we compare with a Grama Simha, dog. Like he will bark like a dog, but finally he doesn't have that much power to do anything. So in this case we can see, he is trying to kill Lord Vishnu. Really, does Hiranyaksha have that power? He doesn't know, but we all know he's a demon, right? So he's like barking dogs never bite, right? There's a saying. Similarly, this Hiranyaksha is like shouting, using abusive words. He's trying to hit Hiranyaksha, Varaha. He is trying to kill Vishnu. But that's where we can understand the Grama Simha means generally dogs, what he does, if you are in a street, it will be very powerful. If you go to the next street, if you see other dog, it will be silent, it won't bark. So same way we can use this analogy to understand what is the Varaha is doing, Hiranyaksha is doing here. So that's why we can see Grama Simha word, we can apply and try to understand the meaning, and at the same time we understand the situation, what is the difference between the Hiranyaksha and Varaha. Now, the basic question, we can understand why these demons like Hiranyaksha are blaspheming and abusing Vishnu. Vishnu is the Supreme Lord. We, the devotees, know, but the demons, they don't know he is the Supreme Lord. They don't agree. That's what in the purport and the translation, they defy, they don't agree the authority of Vishnu. Why is that? So the reason, there are multiple, so we'll try to see various reasons through scriptural references. Like one of the meaning of Vishnu is Adokshaja. Adokshaja means It's one of the names of Vishnu, means the who's beyond our sense perception. We cannot see through our material senses. We cannot directly see through our material senses, beyond our material perceptions. If you take the Adokshita word and split, Ada means down, Aksha means eyes. So, if you, down means it's one other word of Ado means it's beyond as well. So, beyond our eyes, material senses, who is Vishnu. So, that is what the Adokshaja. We cannot see through our material senses. We cannot understand with normal material conditioned eyes. So, that is where he is Adokshaja. So, that is one of the reasons. Not everybody can understand Vishnu with our normal material senses. He is beyond our material senses, material understanding. So, that is another Adokshaja. And when we see Bhagavad Gita, introduction chapters, Srila Prabhupada mentioned, so every living entity has 4 defects. Do anyone remember? Does anyone? Yeah, propensity committing mistakes, illusion, and imperfect senses. Again, the imperfect senses we have, and because of these imperfect senses, we cannot understand Krishna. We cannot understand Vishnu as is. We always have a illusion. So because of that, we don't try to understand. We are unable to understand Krishna. Same thing applies to demons and atheists. So they are not able to understand what real as is Krishna or Vishnu form. What is he? What is he doing? How is our relation? All those things they are not able to understand. So because of these are the 2 reasons. And if you see from the Bhagavatam first canto, the 8th chapter, Kunti Maharani prayers. There is nice. Kunti Maharani also mentioned very nicely one verse. Maya Javanika Chanyam Agnya Dokshajavayam Na Laksha Muda Drusha Natu Nachu Daru Yata. So, Maya Javanika Achanam. Javanika means curtain. Achanam means covered. It is covered by Maya. Maya Javanika, it is covered with a Maya. Here Maya means Yoga Maya, not the external. It's a Yoga Maya, internal potency of Krishna. So, our eyes are covered with Yoga Maya potency. Because of that, that's what if you see the translation, I will read out. Being beyond the range of limited sense perception, you are the eternally inapproachable factor covered by the curtain of deluding energy. You are invisible to the foolish observer, exactly as an actor dressed as a player is not recognized. So, the foolish people cannot understand. Like if you are an actor is playing some role, you think that you don't differentiate he is an actor. You think that he is a real player. If the movie or something is, the actor is performing the role of a sports person. You think that when the person is acting, you think that the person is a real sportsman. You do not differentiate, he's an actor, he's acting, right? So similarly, because of the delusion energy, Maya, Yoga Maya potency, we don't understand Krishna as is. We think that since he is in the material body, we think that he is a normal material person, human being. We don't differentiate between our body and Krishna's body. So because of this Yoga Maya covering, we are unable to understand the Krishna or Vishnu as is. This is also applicable to the demons like Hiranyaksha. Though Hiranyaksha, we cannot directly apply. It is a plan of Krishna, Vishnu's plan, everything. To fulfill his desire to fight, all the pastime is organized. But in general, the demonic tendency is, this is one of the reasons. So far one is, Krishna is Adokshaja. We cannot understand, which is beyond our material conception or perception. And second thing is, we have imperfect senses. Third reference we can understand from Kunti Maharani prayers that Maya Javanika Channam. Our eyes are covered with Yoga Maya, so we are not able to understand. Similarly, now, is it applicable? Is everyone is able to having this covered, the Yoga Maya covered their eyes? Is it the true? If you see examples from Mahabharata or the Dwapar Yuga, why? Krishna was personally present in that Yuga, in that Mahabharata time. But is everyone, what is the situation? Let's analyze some of the roles and characters from Mahabharata, like some demonic and the divine roles. So with this understanding, not everybody is having the covering of the eyes, right? So that, let's take Arjuna. Arjuna was beginning of the battle, Mahabharata war. He was bewildered, he was confused. His mind was, he was not ready to fight, do the war. Then Krishna transformed by speaking Bhagavad Gita, right? So in Bhagavad Gita also Krishna mentioned why he told Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, because Bhakto and Sakha is only for those people Krishna impart this knowledge. So Arjuna is satisfying both the conditions. So he imparted this Bhagavad Gita knowledge to Arjuna, right? And we see Yudhishthira. He is also devotee of the Lord. Similarly, Bhishma, he is one of the great Mahajans, 12 Mahajans, right? So they are constantly serving Vishnu. They don't have this covering. They are able to see. So when they are there in front, because during the time Krishna was physically present on the earth, right in front of them, physical form, right? They were able to see Krishna and understand he is a supreme Lord. Now in the contrast, you see other demons like Duryodhan. What is Duryodhan? What you see before the battle, both Arjuna and Duryodhan went to take the help of Krishna. And what Krishna did? Duryodhan asked. Duryodhan thinks that okay, Krishna is a normal person with some mystic yogic powers, but he thinks that he is a normal person. What he asked? Instead of asking Krishna, he asked Krishna's army. Whereas Arjuna, he understands Krishna's position, Krishna's real, what Krishna can do, he understands. And he asked just Krishna. Even though Krishna told, I will not use any weapon, but still Arjuna took Krishna his side, right? So we can see the Duryodhana right in front of the Krishna is there, but he is not able to see he is as a Krishna. Same, it's covered with Maya, Yoga Maya potency. So we can see the difference, the contrast. Similarly, Dhritarashtra. See, when the Krishna was speaking Bhagavad Gita, with the help of Sanjaya, Dhritarashtra can hear the Bhagavad Gita. See the difference between Arjuna was transformed completely. See the difference of Dhritarashtra. What happened? He is unable to, still he was attached to his son. He is not able to transform. Right? So these are all some of the differences where within the same place, Krishna is personally present, some demons exist and some devotees also exist. So whatever the reasons we understood, it's not applicable to devotees. It's only the few people who doesn't believe Krishna, they have this kind of tendency. And similarly, we have many demons in Mahabharata. We can see Jarasandha, Kamsa, many people that they're all Shishupala. Like Shishupala was also blaspheming Krishna. Krishna waited till he committed 100 mistakes, right? After that, he killed with Sudarshan Chakra. So the same. There are many people, though Krishna is there in front of them, they don't recognize and realize he is a supreme Lord. But whereas some people, so there are multiple references. Like I'll take few other references from the scriptures, like why we cannot see why cannot understand. Everybody cannot understand Krishna. So other Ishopanishad, verse 15. The verse is Hiranmayena patrena satyasyapihitam mukham tatvam pusana aparvan satya dharma drustate. So here also it is mentioned in Ishopanishad, O my Lord, sustainer of all lives, your real face is covered by your dazzling effulgence. Kindly remove that covering and exhibit yourself to your pure devotees. So he was saying that it's again Krishna's face is covered with a effulgence of it's a Brahmajyoti. So that's why not everybody can see and understand Krishna. And if we see another reference, Bhagavad Gita itself, Krishna himself mentioning, Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavrata mudoyam nabijananti lokomam ajam avyayam. So the translation says, I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them, I am covered by my internal potency. The same as Kunti Maharani was saying. And therefore, they do not know that I am unborn and infallible. So, Krishna is saying, those who are foolish, ignorant, he cannot manifest to them. They are not able to understand. So, these are all the various references when demons and atheists criticize Vishnu, why it is happening. So, these are all the reasons. From the scriptural side, we can understand why these demons and atheists are criticizing, and whereas some of the devotees still they are able to understand and they understand his position and do the devotional service. So this is one side of it. Now we understood from the scriptural references why the demons criticize. Now we try to understand the demon's perspective. Why the demons do that? The reason is, if we understand demon's perspective, we can avoid those thinkings and the thoughts or the directions. We can avoid going in that direction. Right? That is also important. So from the scriptural reference, we know clearly Krishna doesn't want to reveal to the foolish and Muda. But what demons are thinking, why they are doing, from their perspective, their feeling, if we understand that, we will avoid doing those things, right? So if you see the purport, in the purport, we are creatures, in the translation, we are creatures of the jungle, we are searching after hunting dogs like so. One who is free from the entanglement of death has no fear from the loose talk. So the word it is in the translation, it is mentioned, one who is free from the death, fear of death. He can talk, he can have a loose talk. So in this case, what we can understand, Hiranyaksha is having loose talk, right? So, but what he is thinking, he is free from repeated birth and death. That is his understanding. But how we want to, like, see, anybody living in the material earth, they will have to undergo repeated birth and death in the normal materialistic people. But Hiranyaksha was thinking that using his potency, using his power, he can kill the god, or using his potency, he can come out of the stringent laws of material nature, so that he can live forever. That is what is understanding. But in Bhagavad Gita, we have a verse, chapter 18. Ajanma bonar loka punaravruttino arjuna ma upechatu kauntaya punarjanma navidyate. So in Bhagavad Gita chapter 8, Krishna was saying, from in the material universe, right from the hellish planet to Brahma Loka, wherever you go, you have to take repeated birth and death. There is no place in the material universe where you cannot avoid repeated birth and death. So in the next line he was saying, Mam upechatu kauntaya. If you come to me, my abode, you will not have a repeated birth and death. So this clearly says that right from the hellish planet to Brahma Loka, wherever you go, you have to undergo repeated birth and death. But if you go to the Krishna Loka only, you will not have this knowledge. Krishna, the Hiranyaksha is not believing this, rather he is believing his own energy, his own power to overcome the stringent laws of material nature. So this is the misconception the demons are having. This is their perception. They can overcome by the material energy, rather than Krishna is saying that you cannot get this liberation, you have to go to his abode. So this is the intelligent person will go with this knowledge, where we understand that in the material world, it's very hard to, wherever you go, whichever planet you will have repeated birth and death. This is the intelligent person by nature. Whereas demons, they ignore this knowledge. So when we see the intelligent person, we can understand the pastime of Parikshit Maharaj. What Parikshit Maharaj did, when he got to know that he is going to die in 7 days, immediately he left everything. He left kingdom and he went to banks of Ganges. And he was asking all the yogis, sages, what is the next step he has to do. Then he heard Srimad Bhagavatam from Sukadeva Goswami. And he heard 7 days and 7 nights without any break. He was not feeling hunger and thirst. He was fully involved in listening Srimad Bhagavatam. Finally, he was delivered from this material world. So that is the person of intelligent person, the approach of intelligence. So like we see, with your envy, your hatred, your pride, you cannot conquer Vishnu. We can only conquer with Vishnu or Krishna with love. We understand from Damodar Leela, Mother Yashoda. She was pure, her love towards Krishna, Vatsalya Bhava, like she was in. And she was trying to catch Krishna, little Krishna. And she tried, so with her, finally, because of pure her love and devotion, Krishna surrendered. And right? So you can only conquer Krishna with your love and devotion, not with hatred, envy, pride. You cannot reach to Krishna or the Vishnu abode. So this is the intelligent people follow this knowledge. And there is a proverb like, fools rush in where angels dare to do. Right? So that's what Prabhupada refers this quote. Means fools rush in where angels dare to do. Go. The angels here refers to the devotees, we can say, divine people. Right? Divine people know what is right and what is wrong. And whereas foolish people, they do exactly opposite. Whatever they are not supposed to do, they do that. So this is how we can see the difference between the Parikshit Maharaj is one side and Hiranyaksha is other side. Both are doing differently. So whatever is the right thing, they don't. The fools they don't do. They will do exactly opposite. And other thing, the demonic and atheistic people think that by doing pious activities, they can come out of this repeated birth and death again. So the pious activities, like we know the karma, in the Bhagavad Gita we say karma, akarma and vikarma, right? So by doing pious activities, we can overcome this material loss. But again, in the Bhagavatam, which is mentioned, Janma Aishwarya Shuta Shribir Yedamana Madapuna. So Janma Aishwarya Shuta Shribir. What these things will do? It will cause more bondage. How? If you are Janma, means you take an aristocratic family and you will have all the facilities. Aishwarya, you will have a wealth, money. Janma Aishwarya Shrita, you will be a knowledgeable person. And Shri, if you are handsome, a good looking person. All these things, what will happen if you possess? You will get attracted more and more. Once you get wealth, you will think that, okay, I need to get more wealth. Once you have a knowledge, you try to think that you wanted to get more and more knowledge. And if you get a good looking, excuse me, and you try to you go to gym or you go to do other exercise and all, you try to become more fit, right? So when you do acquire this Janma, Aishwarya, Shuta, Shribi, when you get these things, you will try to get more and more. The once you get, like we say, like, ye dil mange more. So you need more. So this is what we feel. Like as you get something, the Janma, Aishwarya, Shuta, Shribi, you will get, your mind will ask more and more. Then what will happen finally? You will be entangled in repeated birth and death. This pious activities, it will not help you to come out of the repeated birth and death. That is what the materialistic people and all people, they work hard to get these things. But finally, it will take you to the repeated birth and death. Whereas if you do impious activities also, we know very clearly, Yamaraj will be there. He will be noting down all our sinful activities and he will be ready with all his punishments. Right? So neither pious activities nor impious activities help you to come out of this material loss, to come out of this material loss and the repeated birth and death. Now, and some people try to improve the material. Like we know, this material world is dukhalayam ashashvatam, janma mrityu jara vyadi. These things you cannot avoid in this material world, right? But we try to improve our condition. So what we do? We work hard again to improve, get some nice house, big house, get more money. And all those things we will try to do. And Prabhupada is mentioning, doing this, trying to improve the material condition is like, he gave an example, nice example of prison. Right? So in the prison, I'm not sure here how, but in India, if you see the prison, you will have different levels. A class prison, B class prison, and C class prison. Right? Like if you see A class prison, if any celebrity, if any politician or any person commits any offense, big mistake, and he will get the punishment, they will have a class prison. Where you will have a nice TV, nice bed, you will have a separate food, you will get whatever food based on your dietary requirements, you will get. It's a prison, but you will have these privileges. And the B class, C class prisons means the normal people who if the normal people commit mistakes and they will get a jail in prison, then you will have every normal, you have to follow all the rules. It will be you will not get a good, proper, you will get food, but it's not healthy food. You will get all the basic minimum things you will get in B and low class prisons. If a prisoner thinks that, oh, I should get into the A class prison rather than BC, is it a right thing? Intelligent person, what he thinks? I wanted to come out of the prison, right? That is it should be his intention. Rather, he should not aspire to go back to the A class prison, right? Our aim should be to come out of the prison. This is what we are trying to do in this material world. You cannot avoid all the miseries. You cannot avoid janma, mrityu, jara, vyadi. As long as you are in this material world, you are subjected to repeated birth and death. What you need to do as an intelligent person, you should think that you should come out of this material world rather than trying to improve the material condition, right? That should be our motto. That is what Srila Prabhupada was saying. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur also saying that as a devotee perspective, the devotee doesn't bother where he is going after. Wherever he is, if he is not going to Vaikuntha, if he is not going to spiritual abode, if he is going to the next, but wherever he goes, as long as he is getting the chance to remember Krishna, that is fine. That is one level above, like the Bhaktivinoda Thakur praying in his bhajans mentioned. So the devotee's perspective is different. Whereas the demons and atheistic person, they try to stay in the material world and they try to improve their condition, assuming that they will be free from these miseries and all. But that's a less intelligent person's view. These are the demonic, and this is how demonic and atheistic persons think. So the next thing we can understand, demons and atheists, demons, if you say, Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, Ravana, Kumbhakarna, these are like previously also we discussed. The demons doesn't look differently. How we can differentiate demons and good people, devotees, with the qualities they exhibit. Need not be like the big person, heavy person, like the big horn and so many black face. Those are not just the demons, like how we see, watch in movies and TVs. Right? Demons exhibit, how we differentiate with the qualities, we differentiate demon and demonic, divine and demonic people. Now, there are many other, Prabhupada was mentioning many other vadas and isms which will contributing to more demonic and demonic natures. Like some of the Mayavada philosophy. Like Prabhupada, wherever in purports, wherever he get a chance, he will try to condemn the Mayavada philosophy. What they do? So absolute truth is impersonal Brahman. And everyone has to merge and become, you will be, when you become, when everyone has to, final aim is to merge with the Brahman, then you will become God. Not only that, I was listening one lecture, the impersonal Brahman is non-movable, like it doesn't have any form, right? What they are saying is, the person who renounced in this life, he becomes sannyasi, they will consider him as a living Narayan. So, he's like a Narayan, that's what their assumption. So, the Prabhupada and even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was mentioning, Mayavada Bhasha Sunle, hoy Sarvanash, right? So, Prabhupada and our Acharyas always criticizing and clearly telling that don't get association with the Mayavada philosophy. So what they saying, they will say you can become a god. That is what we are seeing in Hiranyaksha. He is also thinking that I can become a god by killing Vishnu, Varaha. He can also become a god. That's what the atheistic demonic philosophy. So this is how they we can understand their mood, how they think, how they act with this help of these philosophies. That is Mayavada philosophy. And other philosophies like Karmavada is there. What Karmavada? So, if I do good karma, I will get good result. The God is there, he will get good result based on my good karma. And if I do bad work, I will get bad karma. So, they think that, then what is the role of God? Why should I pray God? It's all coming based on my karma. So, rather than praying God, I will focus on my doing good karma. That is the one other philosophy. These are all demonic. These things, these philosophies, isms, Prabhupada condemned, and these things will develop demonic tendency in and the attitude. Right? They ignore the power, superiority of the God, power of the God, and they think that they can become God. And if you see the materialistic scientists and all, how they think, they always think that okay, this body, they don't believe soul. They think that, okay, this body is made of material elements, and after the body is deteriorated and the death takes place, then there is no life after death. That is the understanding of the materialistic scientists, doctors, right? So these are all various vadas, philosophies, contributing to increasing population of demonic and demonic tendency and atheistic tendency. Now, we need to understand the divine, what is the devotee's perspective? Like that's what he mentioned, Prabhupada mentioned in the purport, I think it was, yeah. So the line, in Bhagavad Gita it is said that simply by understanding the transcendental nature of God, one can go back home, back to Godhead. But demons and atheist person do not try to understand the nature of Supreme Lord. So by understanding the divine nature of God, we can go back to Godhead. We can see the example how in Bhagavatam, Rukmini Devi, what she did, she never saw Krishna, right? All she got to know about Krishna, his qualities, everything through the devotees and Narada. And she was started listening, keep on listening about his good qualities. And finally, she wrote a letter to Krishna to come and rescue, because his brother was trying to give marriage with other king. So she wrote a letter to Krishna. Krishna came and took the Rukmini Devi, right? So this is what we can think of. This Rukmini Devi is a great devotee and she is an incarnation of Lakshmi, we know. But in our case, how we can do? We can do Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya again. So we keep hearing Bhagavatam. That is a devotee's perspective. What happens when every day we hear Bhagavatam? What will happen when we hear Bhagavatam every day? We will hear pastimes of Krishna. Like how Krishna, and when he was 6 days old, he killed Putana. When he saved Prahalada from Hiranyakashipu. And Ambarish Maharaj, we take many pastimes. We hear many pastimes. We see how Krishna was protecting various devotees. Even Gajendra, if you see, he was fighting with crocodile. Finally, he left everything. He prayed God and he came and rescued, right? So when we hear these pastimes, when we hear all the Bhagavatam and devotees, Krishna's devotees pastimes, Krishna's pastimes, we understand, okay, Krishna is protecting everyone. By seeing the Bhagavatam stories, we can understand that Krishna is protecting his devotees. Then, if I do the same devotion, Krishna will definitely help me. So if you keep on hearing, definitely your mind will attract towards Krishna's pastimes and that will help you to understand in deeper. Then you will also realize that yes, Krishna protected Prahlad, so he can also protect me as well if I do service nicely, right? That conviction, you will get it. When you do Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, you will have that conviction. When you do that conviction, your faith increases. Then you will start doing more and more service. So that way when you understand Krishna, when you hear pastimes, and we are in the previous session verses also we understood, Krishna and Rama, they appeared in the material world. When we see like they will have 2 legs, 2 hands, everything, they look like a material, like normal human being. But we understand that their body is transcendental. Their body is not made up of material elements. Even though it looks like same, even Varaha is a boar. It's like we compare with the material boar, but it's not like that. He is a transcendental body. His body is Sachitananda Vigraha, right? Not with the material. When we get all these things, when our conviction, in any form, he will come and protect the devotees, right? The Krishna can come in Varaha, Matsya, Narsingha. In any form, he will come and protect the devotees. When you get that conviction, your faith will increase. When your faith will increase, you will do severe sadhana. When you keep on doing your increased sadhana, intensity, everything with the conviction, you will be coming out of this transcendent material modes and you will be transcend to these modes and you will be coming out of this stringent laws of material nature and you will be coming out of the repeated birth and death. So this is how we understand, like first we understood from the Shastras why the demons will not be able to understand Krishna, why they criticize. So the reasons we understand, Ajokshaja, we are the 4 defects we have. And then we took reference from the Kunti Maharani prayers, Maya Javanika Channam. Then we understand from the scriptural references, Ishopanishad and Bhagavad Gita. These things that only devotees will have access to Vishnu. All the unintelligent, foolish people, they will never get to chance to see. And then we try to understand how the material demonic people think. That's where they can, with their power and their energy, they can kill God and they will become God. And we understand like various way, like how intelligent person behaves and how the demonic person behaves. And then we try to improve the material conditions. But finally it leads to further bondage into the material world. And we try to improve our material condition. If you try to acquire Janma Aishwarya Shrita, it will not help you. And finally we have to take the surrender to Krishna. Then we need to understand his divine qualities, divine birth and activities, his pastimes. That will help us to come out of this material repeated birth and death. And we will not be demons and atheists. We will be a devotee. So this is how what we can take from today's verse. Any comments? Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, because the reason is I mentioned, right, in the previous verse, last week we discussed the same verse, Vanagochara. So he is referring to me as a Vanagochara, like the animal, living person in the jungle, animal of jungle, right? So he's saying, yes, I am the Vanagochara and I am trying to search, kill you. Like, you are a dog, I'm trying to search and kill you. In response, he is giving that comment. So he's counted now, because till last verse, the Varaha was, Hiranyaksha was speaking. Now, Krishna, Vishnu, Varaha is responding back to all his comments. So that's how we can understand.
And the other phrase in the translation, one who is free from entanglement of death.
Yes.
Who was he exactly?
See, that is why the mood of the demonic people he is reflecting here. The demons, like Hiranyaksha, he was thinking that by killing the Krishna, Varaha, he's not understanding that material, he's bound to material laws. That was his mood. He's having so much power, he is defeating all the demigods, he can defeat everyone. If you see the Hiranyakashipu also, he was thinking that, right? Who is Vishnu? He can kill these demons, they are trying to kill Vishnu. If they kill Vishnu, they can become God. Everyone will worship him. That is what their mood. So they are not understanding their real position in the material world. Rather, they are thinking that they can overcome these laws. They are free from this repeated birth and death. That's what. Yes. So you are thinking that it is like you are free from the material death, but the next line he says, no, you are subjected to this repeated birth and death.
And that is also true implied meaning, right? I mean, in the sense that one who's really free from entanglement.
Yes.
They will have no fear.
Yes, but yeah, but here in this context, Varaha he is referring to Hiranyaksha. In devotee sense, yes, that is true. If the devotees, Prahalad Maharaj, take example. So he was not worried about his father was creating so many difficulties, right? So it's a death situation for Prahalad, but still he didn't bother. That we can understand from the Prahalada's pastime. But at the same time, in this context, Hiranyaksha was speaking as if he doesn't have this repeated birth and death. That's where he is providing this.
And in forward, Prabhupada mentioned that simply by understanding the transcendental nature which we touched upon at the end,
Yeah.
it's not really like simply reading a shloka with synonyms. And,
No.
it's, as you said, it's more than just understanding the translation, I mean just reading, but it's actually a conviction.
Faith that will develop you to do more sadhana. It increases your sadhana. When you understand the divine nature, his birth, his activities, that should lead to increase your faith. Your sadhana should increase. When you do all these things, you will be automatically coming out of this. Like Prahalada was doing the same thing. He was always constantly remembering Lord. So he's not having any fear or pain due to the external situations created by Hiranyakashipu. Right? So the same thing here. When you understand the divine birth and activities, you will, when you are completely involved in the devotion, you will not feel any pain. Then you will be coming out of this. Right? So that will come when you Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. That is what I was mentioning. When you keep hearing Bhagavatam, when you keep hearing the pastimes, that will develop your faith and conviction. Then you will be out of the material world. Yeah, it's application. Everything. When you keep listening, you have to apply. That's what I'm saying. When your faith and conviction increases, your application part will increase, right? So when you are more faith, so initially when we started our chanting, we started with 2 rounds, 4 rounds, and finally when we reached 16 rounds. How it's gradually evolved. Suppose if you are not having faith, you would have stopped in 2nd round, 3rd round, right? After. So this is the example we can understand. So when you keep on increasing your sadhana, it means your faith is increasing, your conviction is increasing. After doing 16 rounds, you started taking up other services. So what it means? Your faith is increasing. Right? That's how we can understand. Hare Krishna. So, Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki